When Charlotte Reed, a high-powered CEO known for her sharp suits and sharper reputation, found herself without a date for the biggest charity gala of the year, panic wasn't something she usually allowed herself to feel. But this time was different. The press would be there, investors, and the board she'd been trying to impress for months. And to make things worse, her ex-fiancé, who dumped her in front of half their office, was hosting it. She needed someone. Fast. The last person she expected to say yes was the single dad who had fixed her kitchen sink 2 days earlier. But sometimes, kindness hides in the most unexpected places, and one small favor can change 2 lives forever. Hey everyone! Welcome back to your channel name, the place where we share true and heartwarming stories about kindness, second chances, and the beautiful ways people surprise us. If you love stories that make you smile, inspire you, or even bring a tear to your eye, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and comment below about what kindness means to you. It really helps our little community grow and keeps these stories coming your way. Now, let's get into today's story. Charlotte Reed wasn't the kind of woman who asked for help. She built her company from scratch, turned it into one of the top design firms in New York, and earned every ounce of respect she had. But that respect came with a cost. Her long hours and perfectionism had scared off most people from getting too close. Friends stopped calling, and her family rarely saw her. So when she came home one Friday night to find her kitchen floor covered in water, she sighed, grabbed a mop, and started to clean it up herself. But the leak was worse than she thought. By midnight, she had given up and called the first plumber she could find online. An hour later, a tall, tired-looking man showed up at her door with a toolbox and a warm smile. His name was Jake. He looked to be in his mid-30s, maybe a little younger than her. His clothes were worn, his hands rough, but his eyes, bright and kind, had the sort of gentleness Charlotte hadn't seen in years. "I'm so sorry it's this late," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "I was just putting my little girl to bed when the call came in." Charlotte nodded awkwardly. "It's fine. The sink's flooding. Please, just fix it." Jake chuckled softly. "Yes, ma'am." It took him almost 2 hours to replace the broken pipe and clean up the mess. But he didn't complain once. When he was done, Charlotte offered to pay double for the late-night call. He refused. "Just doing my job," he said simply. "And hey, next time, maybe don't use the garbage disposal for lemon rinds. They look innocent, but they bite back." Charlotte laughed. It was a small sound, almost foreign coming from her. She hadn't laughed like that in months. The next morning, she found herself thinking about Jake more than she wanted to admit. There was something refreshing about his honesty, his quiet confidence. By Monday, the gala invitation sat on her desk like a curse. The company's annual charity event was a big deal. It wasn't just about donations, it was about appearances. Everyone important would be there, including her ex-fiancé, Thomas, who now ran a rival firm and loved to humiliate her whenever possible. She needed to look untouchable, confident, happy. But her calendar was empty. Her friends were either busy or didn't want to get in the middle of her history with Thomas. That's when her assistant joked, "Why not just hire someone? Fake date, fake smile. Easy." But Charlotte hated fake. And yet, that night, when she saw Jake's name in her phone contacts, the plumber who'd stayed until 2 a.m. just to fix her sink without complaint, something inside her whispered, "What if?" She hesitated before calling. "Hi, Jake. This is Charlotte Reed, the sink lady," she started nervously. "I know this sounds strange, but I need a favor." When she explained her situation, Jake was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You need me to pretend to be your date?" "Just for one night," she replied quickly. "It's a charity event. Dinner, music, nothing weird. I'd pay you, of course." He laughed softly. "You don't need to pay me. I'll do it. My daughter would love to hear her dad went to a fancy gala." Saturday night came fast. When Charlotte opened the door and saw Jake standing there in a black suit that fit him surprisingly well, she froze. He looked incredible. His usual work boots were replaced by polished shoes, his messy hair neatly combed. He was still Jake, but different, radiating quiet confidence. You clean up nice, she said. So do you, he replied with a grin. At the gala, all eyes were on them. Charlotte could feel the whispers. Thomas's smug smile faded the moment he saw her walk in with Jake's hand resting gently on her back. Throughout the evening, Jake played the part perfectly, not too much, not too little. He charmed her colleagues, made small talk with the investors, and even made the waiters laugh. But the best moment came when Thomas approached them, drink in hand, pretending to be friendly. Well, Charlotte, he said. Didn't expect to see you here with company. Jake smiled. Nice to meet you. I'm Jake. Charlotte's date. And I have to say, she's even more amazing outside the office. Charlotte's heart skipped. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was pretending. She felt seen. Later that night, as they drove back through the city lights, Charlotte turned to Jake. You were amazing in there. Thank you. He shrugged. You didn't need saving. Just a reminder of how incredible you already are. That line stayed with her long after he dropped her off. In the weeks that followed, Charlotte found reasons to call him again. Sometimes it was a leaky faucet. Sometimes it was just to talk. Jake told her about his daughter, Ella, a curious 6-year-old who loved drawing and wanted to be a princess engineer. Charlotte began stopping by their little apartment to drop off books, toys, or just to visit. Ella adored her instantly. And slowly, the woman who had built her walls so high began to feel something she hadn't felt in years, connection. It wasn't love at first sight, not the storybook kind. It was gentler, quieter. It was the kind of love built from small acts of kindness, a repaired sink, a borrowed smile, a shared laugh. One day, Charlotte invited Jake and Ella to the park. They spent the afternoon chasing ducks, eating ice cream, and laughing until sunset. Watching them together, Jake with his daughter's hand in his, smiling so purely, Charlotte realized that success and money meant nothing without moments like these. That evening, as they walked back to their cars, Jake turned to her. You know, I never thanked you. For what? She asked. For letting me feel like I belonged somewhere I never thought I would. That gala night? You made a single dad from Queens feel like a movie star. Charlotte smiled softly. You made a CEO remember what being human feels like. Conclusion, uplifting ending. Months later, the two worlds that once seemed miles apart, her glass office and his cozy home, began to blend into one. Charlotte started taking evenings off just to help Jake with dinner or help Ella with her homework. And in return, Jake reminded her to slow down, to breathe, to live. When the next gala rolled around, she didn't need to find a date. Jake was already there, standing beside her, not as a favor, but as family. Their story became a quiet lesson for everyone around them, that kindness doesn't always come dressed in perfection. Sometimes, it wears a tool belt, carries a tired smile, and fixes more than just a broken sink. So if you ever think your small act of kindness doesn't matter, remember Charlotte and Jake. A simple favor brought two strangers together and taught them both that the greatest repair of all is the one that happens in the heart. If this story touched you, don't forget to hit like, share it with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to your channel name for more inspiring stories of kindness and love. Because sometimes, the most unexpected people show us what it really means to care. Red Heart.